Hello everyone, I am back again to bring you all the details on support items in My Hero Academia, but this time I want to talk about the bad guys. I'm talk about bad guys, because they're good. Good bad. Before I get into it, I want to note that some of these support items are more theory than fact. Horikoshi's given us close looks at a lot of student and pro hero support items, but so far villain support items haven't gotten the same treatment. So by combining some educated guesses with the power of my imagination, my brain, I'm going to show the villains a little love for once. And the way I read that was weird, but that's the only take I'm going to do. So, good luck. This season's big bad, Overhaul, aka Kai Chisaki, makes a strong first impression with his plague mask-inspired gear. The beak-like mask is based on the real-life plague mask worn by doctors in the 17th and 18th centuries. They would do dumb like fill the mask's beaks with herbs thought to ward off illnesses like the bubonic plague, and that did not work. Still doesn't work now, but you can try it. We got coronavirus coming through now, so give it a shot. Anyway, Overhaul is on board with dumb junk science. In fact, he takes it one step further, buying into an outdated and non-scientific theory that quirks themselves are some sort of pathogen that transferred to humanity from rats. So I guess that means Principal Nezu is patient zero, because he looks like a rat. You guys get it? It doesn't matter, because quirks didn't come from some mutated rat virus. It's not true. It's stupid. Kai really runs with the rat idea, adopting his plague mask and making his henchmen do the same, because he's paranoid. Even if Kai's quirk germs don't really exist, he also believes that other parts of quirk-based society, like acts of heroism and petty crimes, are all symptoms of the larger societal illness, an illness that he wants to cure by using his quirk that he got from a rat. His other support item, if you can really call it that, is a pair of latex gloves. They work for his quirk and his germophobia. The gloves keep germs off. Germs are the adult version of cooties, and they prevent Kai from accidentally using his quirk. Besides the glove and the mask, Overhaul has two very unique support items that work in tandem with his quirk, which for the record is also called Overhaul. His quirk allows him to disassemble and reassemble anything he touches, including humans. Okay, so I'm just gonna stretch a little bit and say Overhaul's little sidekicks, Shin Nemoto and Rikiya Katsukame, are basically his support items. That sounds f***ed up. That feels like a f***ed up thing to say. They're people. So what Overhaul can do is use his quirk to fuse with other people by disassembling their bodies and merging them with his own, which is kind of gross. Apparently his germophobia doesn't extend to physically merging with another person, but I don't really expect a lot of logic from a dude who wears a f***ing bird mask. When Overhaul merges with Shin, he gains the use of Shin's quirk Confession, which can force people to tell the truth. Overhaul also gains two spiky arms as a result of the fusion. Rikiya is more of a tank, so when he fuses with his boss, he transforms Overhaul's lower body into a super strong stone-covered form. He also shares his quirk, Vitality Stealing, with his boss, allowing him to siphon off victims' vitality while enhancing his own. Yeah, the whole human fusion process is pretty gross. Grosser than the Dragon Ball's version. It's right up there with Horikoshi's iconic meatball quirk dude from the provisional license exam arc. Overhaul gets a huge boost in physical abilities, access to the Fusie's quirk for his own use, and complete control over the Fusie's dignity. Luckily for his cronies, which once again is a word old Italian men say, Overhaul can defuse with its Fusie at any point, leaving them healthy and intact and ready to be used once again as a fleshy Megazord. Disgusting. Himiko Toga may not be able to combine with other people's bodies, but she can imitate them, which is just as cool. Using her transformation class quirk, Transform. Why is it called transformation class? Oh, if it's just it's just called Transform? How is it a type if it's just Transform? How is that a type? Imagine if one of the Beatles was named the Beatles. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Toga's able to change into anyone by consuming their blood, and I would like to know how you find that out. Once transformed, she is able to perfectly copy both their appearance and their voice and their clothing, but she has to take off her own clothing beforehand, because, anime. The more blood she consumes, the longer she can maintain the transformation, which it's gross, it's disgusting, but it also means that she has to be strategic about how she gathers blood, because she needs a lot. which is where her support items come in. 2 green boxes on Toga's thighs contain several small knives that she can use to slice people up. She uses the knives in combat, much like her role model Stain, if you remember him. She also wears a utility belt on her waist, which I assume is also full of knives. Once she's managed to draw some blood, Toga ingests it and her quirk takes over. How is she not like really sick? Anyway, stabbing people isn't always the most effective method of gathering blood. Thankfully, some up support agency made her an old-fashioned blood-sucking machine. It's equipped with 6 syringes, all of which are used to pierce her target's skin and suck blood. She can either drain blood by poking her target with a syringe, or she can throw her needles in battle. And once the target's skin is pierced, the machine automatically begins to drain her target's blood, like one of those breastfeeding pumps, but for blood. The machine can store blood for later, also like breastfeeding machines. It comes in handy when she's on infiltration missions, like when she poses Kami Utsushimi from Shiketsu High School. The blood storage unit is connected to her Bane-like face mask, and while I'm not really sure how it works, it kind of shoots blood into her mouth like a little squirt gun. It's gross, ew. Never far behind Toga is definitely not Deadpool, Twice, or Jin Bubaigawara. His emitter quirk double allows him to clone anything he touches, whether it is living or inanimate. Twice's first and best support item is a tape measure. The tape measures are built into the sleeves of his villain suit. Twice needs to have exact measurements of whatever he's going to clone, which he's used as an excuse to take Toga's measurements on more than one occasion. How old is she?
People say she's 16.
16. She's 16. Twice's measuring tape may help him create clones, but his next support item helps him keep it together. After cloning himself too many times, Twice lost track of who the original Twice was. Twice and his clones fought to the death until only one Twice remained. Is he the original? Who knows? Not even he knows. I don't know. That thought, coupled with his profound loneliness and memories of himself being murdered by himself, leave him in a very unstable state. His villain costume is the perfect antidote, though, because when Twice wears his mask, the voices in his head stop, he regains composure, and he's able to find some sort of inner peace. So, understandably, he hates taking the mask off. Look, I get it. It makes sense. Sometimes when I take off my weighted blanket, I cry. Season 4 is in full swing, so we've met a lot of new exciting villains, but we can't forget the villains of yesteryear. Stain. He had that very cool fight in Season 2 that we all talked about for a very long time. He's the guy who kickstarted the League of Villains' biggest hiring season by inspiring folks like Toga, Dabi, and Spinner to join their ranks. Like his self-proclaimed acolytes, Stain loves knives. He uses a lot of edged weaponry to support his emitter quirk, Blood Curdle, which allows him to paralyze somebody for a short time after their blood makes contact with his tongue, which is f***ing disgusting. Like, how do you blame quirks on rats when you guys are running around licking each other's blood? I don't understand it. Stain favors a sharp blade, which he uses to hack and slash at his opponent, but it only takes one drop of blood for him to activate his quirk. Of course, one Mall Ninja blade isn't enough for Stain. He carries 6 folding knives, 3 on each side of his torso, or maybe it's just a callback to his days as Stendhal, as seen in My Hero Academia Vigilantes, the series we all love, but still has not received an anime adaptation. He also keeps a katana on his back for more intense combat situations, and that is exactly what every person who buys a katana on Amazon tells themselves they're preparing for. Haha, y'all stupid. If you're gonna buy a sword, buy local. The rest of his fit is pretty standard combat gear. Armored shirt, metal knee pads, and a disgusting, ripped up, bloody scarf. Thought it was just red, but it has blood. Stain may have brought the League of Villains into the spotlight, but I kind of feel like the League of Villains would be nothing without Kurogiri. He is their bartender after all. He's got the f***ing cloud head. His emitter class quirk Warp Gate allows him to create massive portals that allow him to transport people. I don't know what the f*** he was before he put clothes on. But I don't know, now he's just a living black hole man. In any case, despite having an emitter quirk, his ability seems to affect his entire body, similar to a transformation quirk, so there are likely a few hidden elements. Manga fans, shut up with the spoilers. This is an anime channel. Stop it. Let the people live their lives. We don't have to read everything. We have jobs. I have a job. I can't read all the manga, I'm sorry. Okay, so from what I can tell, Kurogiri has just 2 support items. The first is his very nice little snazzy suit. The support it provides is confidence only a well-tailored suit can provide. The suit also has the helpful effect of letting you know where his head is, because I guess he's just f***ing stuff. He's just loose stuff otherwise. He's got a metal neck brace. That's the one. That's his support item. Maybe he was inspired by the All for One school of fashion. Who knows? Horikoshi hasn't given us details about exactly what the neck piece does. Maybe he just somehow has a stiff neck even though he's not a real body. I don't know if he got whiplash one time or just did this too much. I guess that's what whiplash is. I don't know. Maybe he got karate chopped in the throat. My guess is that Kurogiri might not be able to hold his form together without the help of the collar. Maybe he'll split apart into a giant void of nothing. Who knows? In the USJ arc, Kurogiri grew into a massive void, and when that happened, he lost all of his clothing, but notably, the neck brace remained intact somehow. And it also has the added benefit of armoring a apparently vulnerable part of his body. That is, if any part of his body can be vulnerable. Mr. Compress is another stylish guy if you're into the P.T. Barnum Rorschach look. I don't really with his outfit, but I can say it's funny as that Bakugo got captured by a dude with a top hat. Mr. Compress, also an emitter class quirk, Compress. One of those two names is not creative. I don't know which one. I don't know if it's his name or the quirk's name, but you can't be Compress and have your power be Compress. It's fucking boring. Anyway, his quirk Compress allows him to shrink anything he touches with his hands down to the size of a marble without damaging it. And although his quirk requires him to touch his target, somehow he does that shit right through his gloves. So, I don't know. And he can also decompress his target with a snap of his fingers. As a master of illusion, Mr. Compress's trench coat seems like a versatile item, allowing him to blend into the crowd. His mask also helps him to keep his identity secret and has the added benefit of making him look like a poor man's version of Toby from Naruto. He also wears a prosthetic after losing his arm to Overhaul at the beginning of this season, but as far as we know, that prosthetic doesn't support any quirk-enhancing tech, but I don't know, maybe season 5? So instead, I'm gonna make a case for why Mr. Compress's support item is his pockets. I don't know, that's just where he stores his compressed victims. Look, before you unsubscribe, just know that I could have said his support item was orifices, just holes, because he puts the marbles in his mouth. He does it. He right up in his mouth. And if we're going orifices just as a group, some of those marbles are going in his butt. I didn't write the anime. I'm sorry, guys. There's marbles in his butt. Butt marbles. The series' main villain, All for One, is packed with hundreds of quirks that he uses and redistributes at will, so you'd assume he has the support items to match. Even with all the odds being in favor of him having a Batcave style lair type full of support items, he only has a single support item keeping him going. Life support. Yes, like everyone's favorite Star Wars villain, Darth Vader, All for One just needs a little help breathing. His lungs ain't what they used to be. His lungs just ain't what they used to be after his first big fight against All Might. And look, I bet getting the kicked out of him a second time was probably exacerbated the issue. But so he wears an oxygen mask while he's locked up in Tartarus. He got a mask, neck guard, tubes implanted into All for One. They are meant to sustain his life just like they do in normal life. Truth is, Horikoshi never comes out and explains why All for One doesn't use support items. But given how old he is and how his quirk requires him to have super precise control over all the other quirks he uses, I guess he just is really good at doing on his own. Look, he's the oldest. He's probably the oldest living quirk user, unless Horikoshi is about to drop some about an immortality quirk in coming seasons. Who knows? Maybe he's saving that for the series finale. Outside of that possibility, All for One is the dude. He's the oldest guy, so he's good at it. He doesn't need support. Okay, I'm Yudoi Travis. This is GetintheRobot, your anime explainer. If you like what I just did and what I always do, then subscribe to this. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Also, watch my stand-up and stuff. I got shows in New York. Come through. Gang, gang. Squad. Yes.